Oh, I recognise David. He's had me before. Hi, David. Well, it's time to get started, everyone. So good morning. Being the first day, we're going to spend a little bit of time, hopefully as little as possible, talking about the syllabus. Everything's written down somewhere, so you don't need to take notes. You can go and look all this stuff up. So I'm going to nip over to our Canvas shell, I hope. And it should be this one. Are you looking at our 146 Canvas shell? Okay, so let's get started. What you've got here, if you click on the first one, is hopefully you've looked at it, but I'll just open this one, for example. Basically tells you a little bit about the equipment that you need, video and so on. We also go and tell you about how you need to enroll in WebAssign and Zoom. And here is our link. Our class link is basically going to be the one you used right now. It works for about 4 weeks, and then I'll have to change it because for some reason Zoom only allows me to do it for 4. And let's tell you a little bit about the grading system. I guess that's a good place to begin. You're going to get grades for coming to class, and you might wonder how I do that. It's pretty easy. What you will do is, and I'll tell you when I'd like you to do it, is in the, what would you call it? In the comments, do you know the one where you can type in comments? You just put your last name, and then I collect that file and I put it through some Excel sheets, and it just basically does attendance for me. So it's pretty cool. So when we get to the end, Monica, you'll just say York. That's all you need to do. And Alison, you'll say Smith, right? And Brady, you'll say Paul. Did you say Pollock or Pollard? I'm trying to remember what you said. I can't hear you. You probably have to hit the space bar.
Pollard, P-O-L-L-A-R-D.
Oh, cool. Right, so here is participation, 10% of your grade. So you have to come to class anyway, but by coming, you'll get 10% of your grade. Homework is 25% of your grade. We'll talk about that in more detail. There are also going to be some online class tests. Now, the online class tests will be in WebAssign as well, but they're a little bit different from homework. When you do homework, you can spend as long as you like on any question, and you get 5 shots, and it'll tell you when you're wrong, and when you're right, it tells you when you're right, and so you know I'm done and you move on. But these tests are different. They won't even appear in WebAssign until Saturday morning, and they'll finish on Sunday midnight. So you got to get them done Saturday, Sunday sometime, anytime you like. You get 90 minutes, so be really careful. The minute you click on it and you go into that test, a clock starts ticking. So don't go in until you know you've got 90 minutes and nothing's going to interrupt you, like your kid comes in and wants to play or whatever. You got to do it because you've got 90 minutes. It won't tell you if you're right or wrong, but it will give you 5 chances. So if you do something you don't like the answer, you can still put in another one. You can put up to 5 in, but you won't know what one is the right answer. And that's how that's going to work. And that is going to be 20% of your grade. And there are 10 of them, one at the end of each week, right? So you're getting 1 this weekend, number 2 next weekend, number 3 next weekend. And it will only be on the stuff that we do in the week. So the course is kind of broken into, this is what we're going to do week 1, this is what we're going to do week 2, and so on. Out of those 10, 2 will get thrown out. So if you have a really bad day and screw up a couple of them, they won't even matter because we won't count that. The best 8 gets counted. There's going to be a midterm exam. That's going to be quite different. The midterm exam is going to be on the first 5 weeks' work. I believe it's 2 hours, but you can check it. It's in the syllabus somewhere. and you're going to be doing it by showing me working in many of the questions. So it's a combination of, yes, you do it in WebAssign, but you'll show me your working and you will upload your working so I can see it. And another thing that makes it different is that you'll be here and I'll be looking at you. So it's a way of me checking you're not cheating. So you'll be doing it like you were in class and I'd be here. And that midterm is going to get you 15% of your grade. And then the final exam, big version of the same thing. That's going to be on the, what is it for us, Wednesday. And it's 3 hours from 7 till 10. And that's going to be worth 30% of your grade. And that will be a combination of stuff that's on Canvas and stuff that is on WebAssign. But we'll tell you more about that when it becomes necessary. And we have some extra credit. You can get 2.5% extra credit. If you do homework and you don't ask for an extension, you'll get 0.25, a 0.25% every week you do that. But there are other places. But the maximum you can get is 2.5%. Right, any questions so far? Okay. If you click over to Syllabus, when you want to communicate with me, use my email address. There's a link to it. You can do that through Canvas as well. But don't use any of the weird stuff they have in WebAssign. WebAssign has buttons that says ask my professor or tell my professor or request an extension and who knows what else. They never get to me. So it's not that I'm ignoring you. I know what happens, they disappear into the ether. There's probably some way that I can set it up so that it comes to my email address, but it doesn't. So don't do that. Just simply send me an email saying, hey, I need an extension or I need help on a question or whatever. So use my email address for everything and we'll be fine. We have an officer every day at 10 o'clock. So here is the link for it. Hopefully you've all got the prerequisites. Here is the equipment that you need. There are 3 resources. So if you don't have a good computer or you need a video cam or something like that, you can contact the college and they will get you one pretty quickly. We also provide free, as in free to rent, TI-84s. And the TI-84 is a pretty good calculator. It does a lot of things that we want and it's helpful. It's also useful for some of the questions where you have to do a lot of number crunching. It just makes life easy. So if you don't have a TI-84, what you would do is you'd contact the mesh office, and talk to Cheryl, just send her an email. And you basically just go into college and they give you one and you bring it back at the end of the quarter and it won't cost you anything. So if you don't have a TI-84 and you find it's useful, contact Cheryl. Cheryl Phillips, she's at in Mesh. Should be able to get the email address directly. I don't have one off the top of my head. And you can get it. So, next important dates. There are 2 holidays, Monday the 17th and Monday the 21st. So there won't be classes on those days. And there's the midterm and there's our final. These other ones are just, things like last day to request a refund and so on. Here is what your homework looks like. It's on WebAssign. So if you've never used WebAssign, it's essentially, it's an online homework system. It's a portal. You go in there, but it has all sorts of cool stuff. It has the ebook, so you don't need to buy a textbook, but you do have to buy a license or a code, I think they call it, to use it. You get 2 weeks for free. So if you haven't joined yet, I think they give you a kind of like free preview kind of thing where you can use it for 2 weeks, but then the 2 weeks you have to pay because some of your financial aid might have come through yet. So you might want to do it that way. And then by the end of the 2 weeks, you should have your money and do it. So let's show you what WebAssign looks like. Okay. So hopefully, are you all looking at WebAssign? It's a different page now. Okay. Am I a student view? Yeah, let's do it as a student then. Open student view. And it looks all like that. There's a homework. There's a homework. And there's homework. So that's what's due this week. And it tells you over there that it's due by midnight Sunday. So you can do the homework whenever you're free, right? It's pretty flexible. It's there all the time. If you've not done anything with WebAssign, that one there is just gets you used to the process of how you type in information. Let me do this one. Types a variable. Come on, I know you can do it. There we go. Okay, so every question's worth 5 points. Every homework's actually, they're all worth 100 points. And it says to you a question, and you might not know the answer right now, but give you an example. For the following variables, indicate whether the variable is categorical or quantitative. The importance of religion to a respondent, and the answer by the word very, somewhat, or not very important. Well, that's categorical. And if I'm sure about it, I hit submit answer. And hey, you see my little green tick? I got it right. And if I got it wrong, although I'd probably not be able to do that, well, try it. Oh. I don't think anybody is going to change a right answer into wrong, but you may get it wrong the first time. If you need a refresher, quick reference, and it tells you stuff, right? So it's not just homework and it leaves you, you know, hanging there. I mean, it gives you help. There are also choices to try another question if you want more practice at it. I mean, the one I gave you was pretty trivial, right? There are only 2 answers and you get 5 guesses. You know you're going to get it right, okay? So what your job should be is to make sure you understand why it's right and not just say, I'll just get it right and move on because I don't want to spend any time doing this. The problem with that is going to be, can you imagine when you do a test and they don't tell you you're right? And you haven't really bothered to learn what the difference between 2 types of data sets are. You're going to get caught out there. Are we good with that? So that's what your homework looks like. Let's return. So can you see that that's the work days, but homework is due on that. And I guess I should have put on this. I did. I did. I thought I hadn't. See, for instance, online test 1 will be on chapter 2. Those 3 things. Are we good? Any questions? Right. As I say, a lot of this stuff is in much more detail. If I just go to home and I click on this link, it takes you through the steps that you need to join this class. Our class has a class key that it's called. That's what makes my class different from any other one, right? So that's the one you want to get into. But there is another thing that you also need to buy eventually, right? Either right away or in 2 weeks from now. What do they call the damn thing? Code. I think they call it the class code rather than the class key. And the class code is just proof that you've paid for it, and so you can get in. And let's go back to syllabus. So what is statistics about? Well, here are the learning chapters. We're good. Don't cheat. Pretty obvious. The grading we've talked about, and here is the grading information in a little bit more detail. And then you add up all your points and you get GPA, and then places you can get help. Office hour, 10 o'clock. I am in pretty early, so if you get in like 15 minutes early, you can ask me some questions before class starts. That works. It's kind of hard to ask me after this class because I've got another one directly after it. So unless it's a really 2-minute thing, it's probably a good idea to get in early. What else? WebAssign has got lots of resources, and so do I. And now that I've remembered, because my brain jumps around like anything, what kind of resources do I have out here for you? Well, if I click on this one, you have things like a glossary of statistical terms, which basically just is like what do certain terms mean. I also have these guys. So for instance, let's say we're on chapter 3, regression analysis. If you click on this one, what I have here are videos on various topics in that chapter. And these videos, some are me, as you can see. And they're there to help you. Of course, I also have, let's see, lecture notes. If you click on that, there's some lecture notes on the topic. What else do I have? If I go back here, this link here right in the middle that looks quite innocuous is actually a pretty big link. Because when you click on this one, there is a Zoom, right, the one you got to here. But what's more important is every single lesson that we do, this is where it's going to be saved. So if you're getting ready for an exam and you think, oh, I want to go back and do some more stuff on regression analysis, then you should be able to find it here. For instance, right now, there's nothing because we haven't done anything. But Monday is going to have the syllabus, what we're doing right now. And in a few minutes, hopefully, some notes. And then what we do on Tuesday, what we do on Wednesday, what we do on Thursday, finally what we do on Friday. So if you miss a day, you can go back and you can watch the video of it, or you want to revise. So there is, I hope, plenty of stuff out there for you, right? So you won't really be, as I've said before, left hanging, right? Oh, he's chucking me in at the deep end and I have to learn it all from scratch, right? We're doing lessons and we get videos, and we get notes, and we got all sorts of other cool stuff. Right, that's kind of the end point for the syllabus. Is there anything you want to know that I haven't mentioned right now, or you're not sure where it is? Okay, I know that you're bombarded a little bit with like overload, but if you go to Canvas especially, you'll find it there if you go hunting for it in the syllabus or one of the little links that I've gave. So I'm now going to, if that is us, we're now going to do some notes, do a topic. And that's the button I was looking for. Right, so let's have a look at this. We're going to start statistics. Here we go. Just move some, okay. Just being my mouse is being awkward. Give me a second to figure out why. Can I minimize it? That's good. Can I move it now? Okay. Can you see what I'm calling my whiteboard? See my hands wiggling? Is that what you can see, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, right. You don't have over it a big window with all your pictures on it, because that's what I look to see your faces. No. Okay. Or do
Your
you?
face is over it.
But that's the only one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. Well, let's get started. You might wonder, what on earth is statistics? It's a branch of applied math, which means that it's math that is used in business and in pretty much everywhere. It doesn't require a lot of algebra, which many of you will probably like. It's a totally different kind of math, and that's fine. Talk about it. Well, statistics is a study of information. We call this information. I'm going to have to pause for a minute. Sorry about that. I'm getting some feedback, which is not what I want. Sorry about interrupting you like this. I'm trying to find where this button is. Gotcha. There you go. There, it's nice and quiet. If you have a question, just hit the space bar and you'll be able to talk to me. So statistics is a study of what we call information. We tend to actually use the word data. So if you're into statistics or computing, you'd have heard that term. So data is just what we call information. It tends to form into two major categories, and then these categories are broken into subgroups. So let's see what this information looks like. Categorical data is things like color. You ask people what's their favorite color, and they say red, green, blue. So the response, the data, is a list of colors, right? Red, 80 said red and 2 said blue, that kind of. Or it's quantitative. So that's when you ask someone their age or how many children they have in their family. Right? So this guy is numbers, and this guy is things. Very rough way of saying it. Now, categorical data is broken into two subgroups: ordinal and rather unimaginative, not ordinal. Ordinal categorical data would be data that you can put in some order. So I'll give you an example of that. Suppose I was collecting information about high school students, and I asked them what they were in. They might say they were a junior, they might say they were a senior. What's the other two? Sophomore. What's the fourth one? I've missed one.
Freshman.
Freshman. Which one is the youngest of the group? Was freshman first?
Yeah.
Freshman.
Right. So freshman. I think that's how you spell sophomore. Do you see that this data is things, isn't it? It's a freshman, right? You say, what are you? You say, oh, I'm a senior, right? What are you? I'm a junior. Isn't the data there this categorical stuff? You have to remember that when you've finished saying something that you mute yourself back in, otherwise I get the echo in the tunnel thing. So I think it might be you, Alison, if you want to hit the space bar. So this has a natural order to it. Would you agree? 1, 2, 3, 4. And when it's got an order to it, we call that kind of data ordinal. Okay, let's think of some other data that could be ordinal. Suppose you went and asked people, are they in favor of abortion? And the answer might be strongly in favor. just in favor, I guess. Not quite sure what the middle one would be called. So, right, on the fence. And then you'd have against abortion. And then strongly against abortion. Would you agree that has a kind of natural order to it, doesn't it? So that would be counted as an ordinal version of categorical data. Try to think of some others. Anybody got an idea while I'm thinking of one myself? Some categorical data, right? Some things, some data that has a natural order to it. Kind of hard off the top of my head to think of one.
Shoe sizes?
Right, shoe sizes, interesting. Are shoe sizes numbers?
Yes.
Yeah, and because they're numbers, they have to go in the quantitative side, right? So categorical has to be things, right? It can't be numbers, it has to be things. How about countries? And you could put them into alphabetical order. That's just off the top of my head. That's an example of ordinal, right? If you can put the things into some kind of reasonable order, right? Something that makes sense, then you would call it ordinal. Not ordinal might be, what's your favorite TV program? Or color, that's a good one. You know, is red, green, blue? Which one should come first, second, or third? Let's forget about alphabetical order because can't everything be put in alphabetical order? So I'm not going to use that. So colors would be an example of not being ordinal. Your favorite TV program would not be ordinal. Countries you've visited would not be ordinal. How about people's names, right? Those would be example of things, so it's categorical, but they have no particular natural order to them. Then you go into quantitative, that's the number stuff. They're a little bit easier to deal with. Anything that's essentially a number can fall into quantitative data. So for instance, you could have taken someone's age. Wouldn't that be, I'm 42, I'm 12, right? That would be quantitative. You could ask someone their height, number of children in their family, their weight, coins in their pocket. Since you've done it, we'll do this one for you, David, Daniel. Couldn't shoe size go in here? Right, it's a number. Anybody want to chuck in a couple more things that are quantitative?
Yearly salary.
Okay. Can't spell, but you know what I was trying to write down. Anything else?
Does how many siblings you have count?
So your number of siblings and so on, right? So to me, it's a lot easier, isn't it, to think of data that's numbers, right? There are more likely to be plenty of examples of that. Now, how do they split these two guys up, or this guy into these two subgroups? They are called continuous and not continuous. And that is a little bit harder. Yeah.
If someone has a favorite TV station and you ask a bunch of people what that is, then there wouldn't be any necessary thing would necessarily have an order. Just,
correct.
This part is good and that one is good. There's hardly any.
Yeah, you're unfortunately, it's not your fault. But I think what you were asking or saying is that if you were asking someone their favorite TV program, it would belong as categorical because it's a thing, right? You know, I like Big Brother, right? Somebody likes watching the news, right? Whatever it is. I don't think, apart from alphabetical order, which we will try and avoid because everything can be put in alphabetical order, right?
Well,
We don't use it.
if it's in not continuous, because every station has a number, right?
Oh, you're thinking if, okay, so if you were saying TV channels number, I guess it's a number,
Yeah.
right? Okay, gotcha. Okay, so there is continuous and not continuous. You're right, that wouldn't be continuous. So let's tell you how you do continuous. Let's take an example of something that is continuous. You take someone's height. Now, if I ask someone what their height is, they might say, I'm 63 inches. And you ask someone else and they say their height and it's 64 inches. So far, so good. But theoretically, can't you also, if you're being really pernickety, couldn't you be 63.2 inches tall? Couldn't you be 63.21 inches tall? Have you ever done chemistry labs where you measure things really, really accurately? So it's not 4 grams, it's 4.1233 grams because the weighing device is very accurate. If you can have not just these numbers, excuse me, my little dog's decided to bite cables. Come here, you little bugger. Go on, out of there. Come here. Come on. Right. Let's introduce our little addition to our family. Here she is. Is she not cute? Oh yeah, now you're looking at me. But she was biting a cable and the lights were going dim, so that was not a good place for her to be. Yeah. Okay. You go in there now. So height is continuous. If you can get any value between 2 consecutive numbers, right, the data is continuous. So let's look at one. So this is continuous, CTS for short. Let's look at something that's not continuous. How about the number of siblings in your family? Well, couldn't you have 3 in your family or 4 in your family? Agree? 2 consecutive numbers. Have you ever heard a normal human being that isn't crazy say, I have 3.1 siblings in my family? Would you agree that don't make sense, right? This here is not continuous. This is continuous, right? Are you getting the idea of the separation? They're both numbers, but one group you can have not just 2 consecutive numbers, but all the ones between them, at least theoretically, and the other you can't, right? So we're going to go through this list, and then I'm going to give you some sneaky ones that are not obvious which of the 2 types they are. So I'm going to put a C if it's continuous and an NC if it's not continuous. So you volunteer, shout it out, whatever you want. What would you consider age to be?
Continuous.
Correct. You're not just 12, you're not just 13. Couldn't you be 12, 4 months, 3 days, 2 hours, 1.177, you know, blah, 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 right? Okay, we've done height, so continuous. Number of children in your family. So you might have a family and you've got children.
Is non-continuous.
Agreed. What about your weight?
Continuous.
Agreed. Number of coins in your pocket.
No.
Not continuous.
Correct. You can only have 5 coins in your pocket or 6 coins, right? You're not going to have 5.1 coin in your pocket, right? That don't make sense. Shoe sizes.
Continuous.
Continuous.
I wonder, I think I know why you're thinking that. I'm going to disagree, but I don't mean I'm right. Are you thinking it because you can have a 4.5 and not just a 4? Like you could have a size 4 and a size 5, but you can also have a size 4.5. Can you have a size 4.177?
No, but your foot size might be that. I mean,
Oh, your foot size, correct, but not your shoe size. So we're
no,
being
it can only be
lawyer-esque here, right?
or like
Yeah.
4.5.
Right. But even within that, can't you only be 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, right? I don't think anybody has those. So that one, would you agree that is a sneaky, not continuous one? It's, you can have fractions like 4.5 and still not be continuous, because you can't have 4.1 and 4.2 and 4.3. I've never heard of that if you can. What would your salary be? And actually, that one is a sneaky one.
I would probably say it's not continuous.
I agree. Now convince me and the others. Okay, here goes. You could say, I get paid 42,000, right, a year, right? That's my salary. And somebody else gets paid 43,000, right? Well, there's some room in the middle. So you could be paid 42,000 and $1, or you could be paid 42,000 and $2, right? Oh, but there's some room in there. You could be paid, I'll put it down here, 42,000 and $1.01 and 42,000 and $1. Oops, that's a decimal point, and 2 cents. But then, haven't you hit the end of the line? Is there any room between the 1 cent and the 2 cent? So you see it's sneaky, right? So I would suggest that salary is not continuous. Now I'm going to do something that breaks that rule, because context is important. Why am I going to call gas price continuous? Because I have seen this.
On the like sign thing, you all see like $4.15.99.
Never seen that carry on? Where it really should be called $4.16, but they stick a 99 at the end, don't they? Theoretically, couldn't you stick another 9? Theoretically. So there are some grey areas where something might seem continuous or it might seem not continuous, and it depends on the context. So kind of ask yourself a question. If you pick 2 consecutive numbers, can you get all the numbers between them? Right? Is everything possible between the first number and the next number, like here and here, right? Here and here, I should say, right? And if the answer is yeah, you can keep doing that forever, you're looking at continuous. But if nope, you can only have 10 cents and 11 cents, you can't get anything between those two, then you're looking at not continuous. Any questions about statistics and data? Are we good? Last chance. So what I'm going to do now is nip over here. Stop that guy. Let's look at those same kinds of questions and the way WebAssign would do it. And I hate it when it does that. It gives you answers before I'm ready. We don't want to see answers. Right, so are you looking at chapter 2, types of variable? Is that what you're seeing on the screen now? Yeah. Okay. So for each of the following variables, indicate whether it's categorical or quantitative, right? And yeah, a lot of these questions are going to be so obvious, you're going to just think, nah, that can't be that easy. Very often it is that easy. So don't talk yourself out the obvious. The hours you sleep last night, or the hours you slept last night.
Quantitative.
Agreed. They haven't asked it, but would that be continuous or not continuous? At least theoretically.
Be continuous.
Correct. Theoretically, right? Can't time be broken into as small as units as you want? Whether the person has ever been a victim of a crime.
It's categorical.
Right. And the answer to that would probably be yes or no. Agreed? Would that qualify as ordinal? No. Couldn't yes come before no and no come before yes? There's no obvious first and second there. So that would be my argument at least. Oh, and I'm seeing a lot of nods, so you seem to agree with this. For each of the following, indicate if it's ordinal or not. If the variable is not ordinal, indicate its variable type. Okay. Your opinion on a new tax law, and the answer is you favour it or you oppose it. What would that count as? Three choices. You ask people, do they like the new tax law? And some say, yep, I like it, or nope, I'm against it. That's the two answers that you would get as your data.
It would not be ordinal.
So that would be the second choice, right? The variable is not ordinal, but it's still categorical, but they're just not in any order. I don't think you can say favour and oppose. Couldn't you switch them around and there wouldn't be any? There's no natural order. Here's one. I should have thought of this myself. The grade letter that you got in a statistics course, right? You got an A, you got a B, you got a C, you got an F, right? That kind of thing, a D and an F, right? What kind of data is that?
That's ordinal.
It is, isn't it? And when someone says something is ordinal, doesn't that automatically mean it's categorical? Right? Because you can't be ordinal unless you are categorical, right? So they didn't need to say it's categorical and ordinal, right? Saying it was ordinal was enough. The height of men in inches. So the height of anybody.
Quantitative.
Right, so it would be that one, the third dot. Are we getting a feel for how easy your homework's going to be, at least at the start, right? You're going to get some questions, don't overthink it yet, right? Maybe some of the later ones you might have to think a bit harder, but right now, that's it. I'm not going to do any of these, but can you see they're very similar to the ones we've already covered? They have some continuous ones here, and I think that's going to be me. Yeah, that's going to be me for today. So last chance, this is the point where I want you now to say your last name. So go and go into chat and just say Woodland or Martin or York. And as soon as you've done that, bye-bye. I'll see you tomorrow. If you've got any questions you want to ask, just hang about and I'll answer them.
See you in
Bye-bye,
10
guys.
minutes.
Say that?
See you in 10 minutes.
Oh, God, dude. Which one are you doing? Is it McCalc 3?
Yep.
Oh, you're going to have fun. Okay. So, Carson, you got a question for me, or are we gone? We are gone. Okay.